This is Dr. Hans Jaeger speaking to you from Munich, Germany. Dr. Gilada has asked us to contribute to the ASICON 2016 conference, an update on HIV and to give the German perspectives on that. I met Dr. Gilada for the first time about 30 years ago at the Max Müller Bhavan in Mumbai, and since then we have collaborated on clinical issues, on research topics and on other issues related to HIV/AIDS. Our clinic is one of the larger HIV clinics in the country, in Germany, and we are treating several thousand HIV patients. Our staff is about 30 doctors, nurses and scientists, and they come from 10 different countries, European countries, Asian countries. This is Dr. Hans Jaeger speaking to you from Munich, Germany. Dr. Gilada has asked us to contribute to the ASICON 2016 conference, an update on HIV and to give the German perspectives on that. I met Dr. Gilada for the first time about 30 years ago at the Max Müller Bhavan in Mumbai, and since then we have collaborated on clinical issues, on research topics and on other issues related to HIV/AIDS. Our clinic is one of the larger HIV clinics in the country, in Germany, and we are treating several thousand HIV patients. Our staff is about 30 doctors, nurses and scientists, and they come from 10 different countries, European countries, Asian countries or African countries. Research topics in the last years or so have been HIV cure, and we are doing a research project on that, and another very exciting project is long-acting medication for HIV patients. That means giving shots instead of tablets. These shots are given every 2 months or 3 months, and they are a combination of cabotegravir and rilpivirine. In this short video, we will focus on 4 issues related to HIV. First, PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis. Second, low-level viremia and resistance. Third, hepatitis C and co-infection. And fourth, this has been a topic for us very challenging over the last year and a half, because of very many migrants and refugees to Germany, is treating refugees and migrants. And now you will see the presentations.
Hello. Currently, the only drug which is recommended for PrEP is Truvada for people who have a substantial higher than average risk of contracting an HIV infection. PrEP studies like IPAGAY, published in December in New England Journal of Medicine, Partners PrEP, showed approximately 90% reduced risk of infection if the drugs are taken every day. This is very important. PrEP is indicated for men who have sex with men, especially if he had sex without condom in the last 6 months, or he had any sexually transmitted diseases in the last 6 months. Reasons for not using PrEP are especially persons with unknown HIV status because of resistance problems, persons with hepatitis B because of flare after stopping PrEP, and persons with kidney problems because of side effects of the drug. Therefore, when suggesting PrEP, it should be taken under the control of a medical doctor. Since August, Truvada can be prescribed in Germany, but the costs of 800 euros are not paid by government or insurance, health insurance. There are possibilities to get it via internet from, for example, India, for a price which costs a fraction of the original amount. If PrEP is taken, it should be monitored every 3 months, including HIV tests, screening for STD and kidney function. Following these instructions can be a very good strategy for the prevention of HIV and AIDS. Thank you very much.
Everybody, due to the availability of so many treatment options and due to the close monitoring of our patients, virologic failure with high viral load is rare in Germany. challenges have changed, one of which is low-level viremia in treated HIV infection. So to speak, a repeated viral load between 50 and 200 copies. Low-level viremia may reflect active virus replication and thereby a risk of resistance development, but on the other hand can also reflect assay-dependent variation or intercurrent activation of the latent reservoir. How do we deal with this phenomenon in clinical practice? After excluding adherence problems or drug interactions, we try to perform a genotypic resistance test, especially if the patient is on a regimen with a low resistance barrier. Generally, we perform population sequencing, where we can detect virus populations of at least 50 to 20%. However, resistance testing more often fails in case of low-level viremia below 200 copies. If we have enough virus, so to say, have enough plasma concentration, the virus, we prefer resistance testing from RNA. Otherwise, we try to sequence proviral DNA from virus integrated in the cells. Proviral DNA sequencing is also of special interest if we do not have treatment history or history of drug resistance in pre-treated patients presenting with low-level viremia while on antiretroviral therapy. So this helps us to evaluate the activity of single components of the regimen and helps when treatment changes is necessary due to, for example, side effects. We also have access to ultra-deep sequencing, where we can detect minority variants down to 1 or 2%. But the clinical relevance of minorities is still inconclusive, since we do not know the clinical cutoff for specific drugs. However, if we detect an increase in drug-resistant variants, even at low levels, this might be an alert for us to change therapy or monitor more closely. So, this was just a brief overview of our HIV management strategies. Now, more important, I wish you a successful conference with many new insights that you can implement in the clinical management of your patients.
In our outpatient clinic, we diagnose and treat patients with chronic HCV infection. As we are specialized in HIV medicine, some of our patients are co-infected with HIV. Diagnosis of chronic HCV is often made within the first contact of a newly diagnosed HCV patient. At our place, as we check for concomitant sexually transmitted diseases. Furthermore, we do control HCV status in our patients on a regular basis. That means HCV antibody test or PCR 2 times a year, as there is a relevant number of new infections or even HCV reinfections after successful treatment. We also see patients that are already identified as HCV positive and who are sent to our center to get specialized recommendations in treatment of this disease. Patients are having varying backgrounds. The greatest proportion of many HCV monoinfected patients are people who take drugs or have done so in a longer history. But, as in many other countries, a far bigger proportion of patients hasn't been aware of the disease, and we can't identify any risky behavior. So we still face the problem of a big proportion of undiagnosed HCV infections. In Germany, doctors specialized in hepatology or infectious diseases initiate and prescribe HCV treatment. This is mainly due to the very expensive treatment costs for direct-acting antivirals, ranging from €18,000 up to €30,000 per monthly prescription. Some patients, especially from Eastern European countries and Russia, do purchase their medication via international pharmacies or directly from India in hope for a better price, as we have learned to price somewhat only a tenth or even less compared to Germany. Nevertheless, with the new interferon-free BAA treatment options, we achieve stable cure rates of 90%, which has been confirmed in various international and also nationwide studies in real-life settings.
In 2015, over a period of a few months, a huge increase in the influx of refugees arrived in Europe, about 1 million of them in Germany. This was quite a challenge for a country of 80 million inhabitants, which does not consider itself to be a country of immigration. Overall, the resident population showed quite a welcoming attitude towards the refugees. Many volunteers helped to care for them. Nonetheless, there has also developed a marked increase in right-wing nationalist political movement in the aftermath. In terms of infectious diseases, some diseases can be highlighted among the refugee population, none of them being a threat to the local population. There is tuberculosis, both pulmonary and extrapulmonary, which is a very rare disease in Germany, but among refugees has a much higher prevalence. There is measles, which we had a serious outbreak in Berlin due to poor vaccination coverage and also due to housing in densely populated camps. HIV infection is mainly diagnosed among refugees from sub-Saharan Africa, while those from the Middle East are predominantly diagnosed with chronic hepatitis B. Treatment is financed by government as long as the disease is acute or a life-threatening chronic disease, such as HIV infection. Non-life-threatening conditions, such as hepatitis B or C, need individual case-to-case negotiations with government to cover the costs of treatment. Overall, the medical care of the refugees is working well.
We all wish you a great ASICON 2016 in Mumbai.
नदी के शहर म्यूनिख में डॉक्टर येगर की विशेष प्रयोगशाला की टीम ASICON 2016 कांग्रेस का मुंबई में हार्दिक स्वागत करती है.
Mumbai and Delhi and